We went through some other company and filed a UCC with the Colorado Secretary of State and want to live in the private. Okay. We are believers and we notice that your process revokes the contract service license voting application. It doesn't necessarily revoke, but I'll address that in a second. We've been in deep research for 6 weeks. We're wondering about how to incorporate your process and the one we've already started. All right, I get it now. The process you already started sounds to me like you're trying to access birth funds or birth account funds. We can't really help you out with that. We can tell you whether it conflicts. Like you would have to save your process to a PDF, upload it to a ticket on HISadvocates.org, and we'll take a look at it. We'll tell you if it's going to conflict and why. But sometimes they don't. But if it were me, I wouldn't be doing anything in reference to trying to access the offset account or the TD account or the birth bond account, whatever you want to call it. Regarding the drivers voting in different elements of the living in the private, what we do is we shift you from being the trustee, which is known as the surety, to being the collateral beneficial interest holder, meaning you are the important person on the transaction, and we do it through an administrative process. In that way, you still have a driver's license in your wallet, and you're not necessarily contracted because we're creating a new contract with the DMV, putting it in the public and serving them with the notice. And that doesn't mean that you're able to go around and not get tickets and get in high-speed pursuits, then pull you over and say, oh, you're special. That's not how this works. Every law enforcement officer does not get a notice that you're a special person. And so I say that in humor because there's a lot of people out there touting that you're going to get on a do not detain list. They don't know whether you are or you're not. We have had people suggest that they get pulled over and they don't want to use the driver's license anymore. And our DMV documents give them that ability to turn in their driver's license and revoke the contract in its entirety. It also gives them the opportunity to keep the license and move themselves into a position of beneficial interest versus being the trustee. See, the DMV doc, they're the grantor, they're the beneficiary down here, and you're coming in and you're signing the paperwork and you're signing the digital signatures, which translates to the actual signature on the driver's license. You're the only one signing anything. That's called a trust. It's an adhesion trust. So that means you can change the elements of the trust if you want. You didn't realize you were putting yourself in an office holder position. You didn't realize many different elements of that trust were done in a form of fraud to a minor child. You didn't realize, anyway, there's a whole bunch of things. And so we create the new contract for people, and that way you're not driving around without a license in your wallet and you're not at risk. And again, law enforcement, they're coming after that group of people called sovereign citizens, not necessarily people that don't have licenses, but people that are driving around in expired tags, suspended licenses, and different things because they got one leg in, one leg out, and they haven't completed or finished up or cinched up all those loose ends. And that's what we do. We cinch up all the loose ends. We give you a tight format, and we serve them all constructive notice. And again, to go back to, we have some people out there that just walk away from the license and they use their passport ID card and give it to cops all the time. And cops look at it, run it, and let them go. And I've seen attitudes change. And we've had many people talk about this on these Q&As. For me, if I'm with my girl or my kids, I just don't want to risk anything like that because I don't have to. I don't have to. I'm not going to argue with the guy on the side of the street about a license. I'm not going to argue with my right to be a state citizen and travel without a license. I don't have the time in my life to deal with that. As a matter of fact, I think about my time so much right now, I'm thinking I'm going to start Ubering everywhere. I just took an Uber for the first time to the office because I did the math on my truck and the gas that my truck uses. And I did the cost on the Uber. I'm like, it's the same. So I sat in the back of an Uber for a half an hour on my way to my office today, and I just typed text and got a lot of stuff done. So my time's valuable. And arguing with law enforcement, arguing with judges, it's not it doesn't build a good rapport. It doesn't build a good relationship because that cop works in your neighborhood. So why? We get the same effect in the law to be a state citizen holding that license in our wallet, but it's uncontracted for you, and you would understand if you read our docs on how that works. But we will not do a program if it conflicts with another. So we need to read what you've done thus far, and we'll give you an honest answer.